Happy Tuesday. It's coffee and questions with the flipping gals.
Well, with Marina and
Michelle.
That's right. So make sure to keep, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm like half awake. Good morning, BW Reseller and Maxi Store 200. So do you remember who suggested that we discuss virtual assistants today?
I do not remember.
No? Okay. Well, there was a request yesterday to discuss virtual assistants. So we're going to tell you kind of about our experience with virtual assistants. Good morning, ladies.
Our
veterans too. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions during the live, you can look for this little question mark sticker on the bottom of your screen. And then you can put your question in there, and then we can highlight it for everyone to see. So we have a question for you. Are you considering a virtual assistant, otherwise known as a VA, for your business? And if so, why is that? We have a virtual assistant for our business.
Yes.
Excuse me. Can you explain why we have a virtual assistant?
So I think in the beginning, we started utilizing someone's help, and she lives in the Philippines, and we were basically all over the platform. We were on all the platforms, and I think it was getting a little bit too much in terms of like how we can manage all the platforms, and we actually decided to try out a VA.
Well, she was a VA as well.
Yeah.
Right? So we have a VA now, and we had one before, like Michelle was mentioning.
Yes. Different task.
Well, the thing is that what happened is like we, Vendoo came out. There's List Perfectly and Vendoo. We tried List Perfectly. We've stuck with Vendoo. We really love it. And if those services hadn't come out,
you're right, when
they did, which was about a year ago, about 8 months ago, we would have still been using a virtual assistant. So they kind of took away the jobs of the virtual assistants, and that's a software program.
That's absolutely right.
So, okay, so let's get started, and let's see if, so good morning, Fabby's Finds and Kimberly Closet. So if you guys have any comments about virtual assistants, or just let us know if you have one in the comments below. So what is a VA, Michelle?
A virtual assistant is a person who provides support services to a business from a remote location. So administrative tasks are most common for virtual assistants, but they may also assist in any other elements required by the business. So it's essentially, they could help you with anything.
Yeah, it's really limited to whatever skills that they have. Correct. So it's really just like us, who we're like solopreneurs, right? We don't really have any help in our business. We do everything. So they really help to lighten that load. And so if you have a task that you want someone else to take over, so you can save time doing what's important. So like for us, what's really important that a virtual assistant would not be able to do. Good morning. What is this? Tara Lee 43. So we would not be able to have a virtual assistant that's in the Philippines, for example, which is where our virtual assistant was, source for us. That's something only we could do, right? But while we're sourcing, we can have a virtual assistant, listing across all the platforms for us, so we don't have to worry about that. However, the virtual assistant cannot take pictures of our items. So after sourcing, we still need to take pictures of the items. Also, you may be picky about pricing. You may not want your virtual assistant to price for you.
Correct.
I mean, yeah. I'm very picky with pricing. I don't want to give away my items, right? Only we kind of know that. However, our virtual assistant did help us with that, though. Did she help us with pricing?
We gave her some benchmarks.
Yeah, I think she helped us with some pricing. So, I mean, it is certainly possible, but it is a little bit risky.
So a lot of the virtual assistants work as contractors. They may run their own home-based virtual assistant business, And many can be found on freelance websites like Fiverr and Upwork.
I want to say these are like the two most popular websites where you can find, assistance from abroad.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's Fiverr, Fiverr, and Upwork, UP work.
Correct.
Yeah.
And depending on what you're looking for, you can do a quick search on their website, and different candidates would pop up as soon as you type in like the skill set that you're looking for. It ranges from the people in the US to the people in Costa Rica to people in Asia. So there are different rates. They usually charge by hour. Some people do charge by project and like a short-term project or contract. So let's say if you want to commit to 3 months and you can agree with the person on a rate, an hourly rate.
What I really like about these services though is that you can rate the person that is working with you. So they do have like a rating system, which is really nice.
Yes.
And like I would be a little bit hesitant to hire someone who doesn't have any ratings.
Correct. Yeah, and you can review, you can look at the reviews from other people who work with that candidate and their experience of working with a candidate. So it's quite reliable, and we had to kind of trust ourselves and try it out in the beginning, and it turned out it worked out really well.
Yeah, and I'm not sure like how other countries go about providing their services, but I think India and the Philippines, that's like a really big one. And Michelle, actually, she grew up in the Philippines, so she went to school there. Good morning, Trish Fan 99. Happy Tuesday to you. So she went to school there, and she's familiar with the culture. She's familiar with, there's a lot of poverty in the Philippines. There's not really a middle class. So either you're very wealthy, very well off, or you don't have much means. So a lot of the workers in the Philippines are their own bosses, and they line up a bunch of these gigs. They really depend on these jobs.
Correct.
And they're super efficient. They can speak English, which is awesome and amazing. A lot of these virtual assistants have gone to universities, and they have full-blown like bachelor degrees. So they're very intelligent. Our virtual assistant was a mom. Her son, I think, was autistic, so she had to pay money for his like therapies, and it was expensive, right? So she was relying, her and her whole family were relying on this work to get them, get her son to the doctors. Good morning, your favorite Jenna. Happy Tuesday.
And she's also very knowledgeable. We actually learned from her because she has worked with other clients who work on other platforms like Etsy, and she introduced Marmalade to us.
Yeah.
On keywords, how to come up with keywords. So we're learning, and they're actually teachers also.
Exactly, like Michelle said, when you look for a virtual assistant that has experience, and if you are a new person in the reselling world, they could teach you a lot. And and our old, I almost want to say her name, but I'm not going to say her name. But she was so good at like introducing, because we were new at that time, right?
Yeah.
Introducing things we didn't know. Good morning to Quinn 316. Happy Tuesday. So no, we no longer have this virtual assistant working with us because it ended up getting pricey for our business and our business model. But we'll talk a bit more about that in a minute.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about our experience. How we actually got started was we had a Zoom call or FaceTime with her and interview her, the candidate, in the beginning. So it really depends on your comfort level. But usually when you interview in person, after that, it's free when you interview them. After that, it really gives you like a hint and, a sense of like whether or not you want to work with this person. So it's very easy to use. We use Upwork. And then the other one that we kind of switched to is Resellers Assistant. They actually are focused on Poshmark. So they purely help you share your closet on Poshmark, help you gain followers, and help you kind of like be more active on Poshmark, because Marina and I, we don't have a lot of time to share our closet multiple times a day, and Reseller Assistant is actually a great tool.
Yeah, I mean, Reseller Assistant is awesome, but I do have to say, if you don't send offers on Poshmark, you're not going to make sales.
Right.
So they don't send offers for you. That's something you still have to do.
Exactly. You can't expect to hire them and expect sales to come in immediately. You really have to do the work as well.
Yeah, and the sales will not come. Like this month, we've been focusing our energy on other things, which is like growing our reselling business. And Michelle hasn't really had time. Michelle's in charge of doing 80% of the work for our business, but she hasn't had time to send offers on Poshmark. And as a result, our sales have really declined, even though we're paying for the service. So I've even talked to her like, hey, do you still want to keep the service?
Correct. We're going to talk about pricing.
But like we'll talk about pricing in a minute. But like if you only sell on Poshmark, right? And most of the things you sell are clothes and you're putting all your energy there, highly, highly recommend Reseller's Assistant. It was actually recommended to us by another fellow Poshmarker at PoshFest last year. And so we were very happy that was introduced to us. Good morning, Slice'em. Happy Tuesday.
And we have a link in our bio if you want to learn more about Reseller Assistant.
Are we done talking about Reseller Assistant?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you guys are interested in signing up for Reseller Assistant, we do have a link in our bio. It's an affiliate link that will give you a discount if you sign up with them.
So a lot of people are thinking, okay, when should you consider using a VA? They don't necessarily replace everything you do. So VA is really meant to support what you do on a regular basis when you actually have too much going on. So consider all of these things. First, do you work long hours on a regular basis? Are you overwhelmed by the amount of work you have to accomplish in one day? Is your business able to afford a VA? That's super important. Is your business sustainable? Are your sales steady? Can a VA kind of help you boost those sales and keep going? And do you spend over an hour doing repetitive tasks, like a lot of administrative tasks? So consider those things and evaluate and see if it's worth it to invest in a VA.
Yep. And so I have a question, Michelle. Were we still going to talk about pricing though? Oh, okay. So we're not totally done with the RA thing. Thank goodness. Or Reseller Assistant. So what do VAs do for their resellers? Like Michelle mentioned, it can be a lot of administrative work. Like it could be anything administrative, right? The only thing they can't do, they cannot go source for you and they cannot take pictures, right? Because they're located in another country. They can share your closets, they can offer to likers, they can list items, they can clean up the images, they can do keywords, keyword research, they can do social media for you. Our VA in the Philippines, at the time when we were selling on Mercari, the Philippines had no access to Mercari.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's changed now. It's been almost a year since we've used our VA from the Philippines.
Correct.
Does anybody know? But she could go on Etsy, she could access eBay, and she could access Poshmark, but she was limited to Mercari. So that was like another kind of issue for us because we were selling quite a bit on Mercari at that time.
Yes.
So back to the point, like the VA, sorry about that. I don't know what I just did there. Okay, here we go. So let's look at some pros of having a VA.
So pros include you don't need an office space from a seller, from a business owner perspective. This is great. You don't need any equipment. Most VAs have their own computer and they can work off of their own equipment. It saves you time for sure. That's like a big thing. It allows you to stay more focused on important things. And the VAs are available on weekends as well. So you could spend time doing other things during the weekends.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really wonderful if you can afford one of these and your business model lets you afford one. Some of the cons are extra security concerns.
You actually have to share your password with the VAs. And some people are concerned about them accessing your bank account or your account at all. So that is definitely one concern.
It's a legit concern, Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that is definitely a risk that you're putting out there.
Yep.
Now, another con is a time zone. I remember we used to wake up and then immediately communicate with our VA, And when we would go to bed, she'd get started, which is actually kind of cool too, because that's one way you can get sales overnight. Correct. Is if they're working your business while you're sleeping. But communication can get a little bit hard.
And you can't monitor the VA because you're not physically there. But that is one thing about, working with people who are working remotely. So you just have to make sure that you hire someone who's trustworthy. And the last thing is that sometimes, because they are contractors, they work with different clients. So they may not be as committed to your business as if you have an employee in your company. You
may get the sense too because of the distance, but I mean, there are some really good ones, you may click with. I did want to say though, on the micromanaging or monitoring part, Upwork, which is what we used before, does a really good job of micromanaging and monitoring the VA's work for you. It actually takes snapshots of their computer and their work when they clock in and then when they clock out. Right. So every few seconds.
Correct.
So you can actually see, okay, did the VA leave the computer for 1 minute? It will tell you that.
Yeah.
And it will tell you how long they're spending on working for your business. True. So we found out with our VA, she was always there. She was, she wasn't faking it. I worked 5 hours and I really didn't. And then also she would work extra hours than what she was getting paid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so that's what's nice about Upwork. I don't know if Fiverr does that. I would imagine they do it as well.
Yeah.
But Upwork definitely does do that, which is an awesome feature.
So let's talk about investment. How much do you need to invest for a VA? It really depends. First of all, it depends on the task you're looking for. Some people, some freelancers start from $5 an hour. Most of them are overseas, and some start from $20 an hour.
I would imagine those are the local ones.
Yeah, they're in the U.S. So, some people are concerned about language barrier, time zone. If those concerns are, important to you, then maybe hire someone from the U.S. So, there are many things to consider. They're not very expensive if you do want to choose someone who work overseas. And yeah,
I mean, you can definitely get a good quality VA for about $4 to $5 an hour, which is not bad. And they can do a lot. It's definitely, if you get somebody like that in the US, you're going to be paying, it says here, about $20 an hour, maybe 15 if they're kind of in the middle of the US where the prices
Correct.
Are lower.
Yeah.
But if you don't have an issue with a language barrier, what do I mean by that? Well, actually, a lot of you know I'm an English teacher, an English as a second language teacher. And for me, it's not a problem, because they're highly proficient at English. But if you're not used to talking to, people who English is not their first language, and so it may be harder for you to have patience, to have that communication. Again, for me and Michelle, English is not our first language, so there's zero issue there. But then you will have to pay a lot more money.
Correct.
For a VA who's just a native English speaker. But like we said, the Philippines, and Michelle went to school there, everyone knows English there.
Yeah.
Now the English is different than English in the US because that's just how it is, right? English in California is different than English in the Midwest. Correct. And that's just how it is.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we hope that you guys enjoyed that. We're going to share the pricing for Reseller Assistant. So again, Reseller Assistant, if you guys are Poshmark sellers, the pricing is here, and they give a lot of really good discounts all the time. If you guys want to sign up, you can go to our Instagram account link in the bio, and we do have an affiliate link, which will give you, I forget what the percentage is. It's at least 10%. On your first time, you'll get a nice discount. So they have 3 different levels. There's $120 a month, $125 a month, and $250 a month. Now, $250 for 60 days. So that's for 2 months. I do want to say that, so that's $150 a month. When we had our VA, she was putting in probably 25 hours a week. So we were spending about $100 a week, right? So it's about $400 a month. So as you can see, 400, which one are we on? The first one?
We're on the 2 months one.
On the second one. So from $400 to $150 is quite a bit of a difference for our business.
Yeah.
And that's why we decided to make the change, because we realized, like, okay, can't cross list on Mercari. Vendu has come out. How much do we pay for Vendu a month?
30.
Okay, so we can pay $30 for Vendu a month. At that time, it was free because it was under beta, but now it's $30 a month and $150. So that's
$125.
No, $250 divided by 2 is $150.
Oh.
So $180 a month versus $400. It's like, you know, it was common sense for us to do that. So we have an affiliate link for you guys for Vendu and for Resellers Assistant in the links in our Instagram bios. If you guys are interested, feel free to direct message us any questions about these services. This is what we use. This is what we recommend. We had a lot of trial and error with VAs and spending money. So if you guys know anything better than this, let us know. But we are pretty darn happy with the services.
We did notice that our sales went up after we sign up with them. Now I want to emphasize that you have to do your work as well on Poshmark. So it's pretty much doubling the engagement and activity on Poshmark.
Yeah, what we have noticed is the followers that we have on Poshmark have gone up. Also, we get a ton of likes in our closet. So all we need to do now is monetize that and send offers.
Exactly.
And we will get sales. So so before we go, do you guys have any questions about anything at all that we discussed today? And do you have any suggestions for what you would like for us to touch on the rest of the week? This topic came about by a suggestion that we had yesterday. So thank you so much for the suggestion. We had been meaning to talk about this for a while and just completely forgot. So if you do have anything come up, let us know with a direct message later on. Here is our meme of the day. Man, I love this actor, but he did pass away about 20 years ago now. Heath Ledger as a Joker on Batman is saying, "You mean I could have outsourced it to a virtual assistant to save time?" He didn't know. He didn't know. You save time, and you could potentially make more money if you are wise about how you are repurposing that time that you are saving.
Yep.
So that's it for us, guys. We appreciate you taking the time to watch. Don't forget, this week's BOLO is pots and pans. Don't be afraid to venture out into something new. Scout your area, do some local pickups, do a little bit of research, or watch our BOLO Saturday video that we did on pots and pans. We sourced some. We have yet to take pictures and list them, but we will keep you guys posted. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you tomorrow. Michelle.